Joseph Silva Jr. I am the author of When the Wood is Dry, an edgy Catholic thriller. And I'm here to talk to you today about writer malpractice. This will be the first in my series of writer malpractice videos. And the malpractice I want to talk about is the Game of Thrones, the last season. This was the edgiest show that I think has ever been on television. I think it's redefined the edge. I mean, you had everything in here. You had sexual taboos of incest and rape and menage a trois relationships and homosexuality, and you had prostitution and whatever you could do sexually, just about, other than maybe bestiality, you had going on in this in this television show. Really extraordinary. And there was also an incredible amount of violence. There were scenes of torture, including the cutting off of genitals. And, I mean, there was murdering of a pregnant woman, like a la Charles Manson. I mean, it was really brutal. I mean, a lot of really brutal things in it. But it was really a captivating story. It was a spectacle. And it was a spectacle of edginess. Part of its spectacular nature was how edgy it was. And that's what kind of got people to watch it. But in the end, the last season was an epic fail. You know, all the great surprises and things of the early seasons that made sense, they just dropped the ball completely. So now this happens often. This kind of writer malpractice with series. The idea of a television series is that you're trying to keep the story going. So every week there's another week, there's another week, there's another week. And so you end with these dramatic kind of cliffhangers every week, and you're looking forward to the next week, right? Well, at the end, you have to land this thing and end it, right? So how do you stay true to what you've been doing to keep the thing going that's made everybody excited about it, and yet end it? And a lot of these shows, they have trouble ending. You can think of a lot of series that had disappointing endings. I used to watch Seinfeld. The ending of Seinfeld was a comedy, but it was pretty miserable. I mean, there's a lot of examples. The series Lost, a lot of people were disappointed with the ending of that. And that was one where they really just kept the story going for as many seasons as they had. I don't remember exactly how many. So we see this happen. And ending a story is a whole another kind of ball game when you really have to end it. And they really failed in Game of Thrones. I think a lot of people were disappointed in the ending. And they failed even though it was easier in the Game of Thrones. They had a hidden advantage in the Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was set up as a tournament, okay? In a tournament, the last guy who wins, you know, the last guy standing is the guy who wins, right? So, and they even said that, you know, in the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. It was what Cersei Lannister said in one of the early episodes. And at the end, they didn't, it wasn't the guy who lived, it wasn't the guy who, that wasn't it. That wasn't the theory. It was, we'll go to the committee of judges and allow them to choose the next leader. It was really rather disappointing, okay? And it shouldn't have been, because you have a mechanism for resolving this in a way that's satisfying, and they just really, you know, tried to please people who liked certain characters, so they felt like in the end they couldn't kill them, but they were killing characters all along. You know, it's part of the things that made the thing exciting. You thought the guy was going to be this big hero, and they cut him down with just treachery. And that was one of the rules of the show, is treachery is okay, as long as it gets you to the throne. The throne was kind of a MacGuffin, if you know that term from Hitchcock. Something that all the characters want, and only one of them can have, so that puts them in conflict. But you can't, at the end, just say, oh, well, we'll go to the panel of judges and award it to the crippled kid. That was just totally lame. Okay? So, it shouldn't have been so hard, and they could have done it much more easily. And I have a better solution, I think. That's kind of an edgy Catholic solution to the problem. And there were, let's talk about what really needs fixing in this episode, in the final season, okay? All along, you had kind of brilliant strategizing for battles in the series. I mean, really clever things happen. You know, people sending off a force over to as a diversion, and then going in an unexpected direction, all kinds of clever things and clever ways to win a battle. But the Battle of Winterfell, you know, against the dead, the White Walkers, the Night King, had no strategy at all. No sensible strategy. I mean, you made a cavalry charge at the dead with all of your Dothraki warriors and just had them cut down. You had people standing in front of the barriers fighting a melee battle against the dead who only have kind of slashing weapons, where you could have stood behind them and used projectile weapons. And anybody who's ever played Dungeons and Dragons knows that kind of strategy. When you're far away, you can shoot arrows at people and do damage without getting hurt yourself. They didn't take advantage of anything that they had that would have made their job work, right? So they had no sensible strategy. You had 2 dragons that could have been burning up the dead, you know, before they reached your infantry, right? They just didn't do it. They didn't do anything sensible. So that the Battle of Winterfell was just a total fail. Besides the fact, you had an opportunity for some treachery to, you know, get back at Cersei Lannister, who didn't show up for the battle. I mean, in a Game of Thrones, when people are committed to come to a battle and they don't show up, that's something you take personally. So I even have a way to address that, and I'll talk about that in our next episode when I talk about how to fix things. Dany's attack. Daenerys decides she's just going to kill all the civilians. Well, okay, you want to make the case that she's going crazy, but in the end she says she still wants to break the wheel. Well, why do you want to break the wheel if it's not to help the civilians, right? This is kind of always been her mode of operation. She kills the leadership and gets the civilians to follow her. This is who she is, and all of a sudden in the last episode, you have her for no reason, you know, mowing down all the innocent people, which I guess it's edgy, but it doesn't make enough sense to work. If you want to make her, you know, crazy, you have to make her crazy. You know, you really have to set that up a little more. They set it up a little, but not enough to make the sense of that. That didn't make any sense. And in the end, they had the dragon, the big, powerful weapon in this whole series, just fly away, pick up Daenerys' body and fly away. That's totally lame. I mean, you have an opportunity to have some drama with how you're going to control this dragon now that you've killed its mother, and you have the dragon just kind of burn up the throne and fly away. It really didn't work well. And then we also talked about this committee. You know, this whole show has been power trumping justice, power trumping everything. The only value is power. You know, if you're on that throne, you get your way. You get to commit whatever sins you want, and nobody can do anything about it, right? Because you're the one in charge. That's the whole show. But in the end, well, we have a little committee vote, and we say, let's give it to the lame character. And that, you know, it was lame. That's why I used the word lame to describe the character. Now, I have a better solution for this, but I wanted to just, in this first video, just identify the malpractice involved. Now, there is a book where you won't have any writer malpractice. This is an edgy book that I wrote when the wood is dry, an edgy Catholic thriller, okay? And you won't have that problem in this book, okay? So why don't you give that a good look, and we will talk in the next video about how to come up with an edgy Catholic solution to the Game of Thrones problem. And I think even if you're not Catholic, you'll find it a more satisfying solution. Okay, this is Joseph Silva Jr. signing off for edgycatholic.com. We'll see you soon.